organic stuff and gets things started, but I guess we're gonna get started. So anyways, my name is Buurma, and I'm from Canada, Ontario. And we'll show you a little bit of this presentation. It's all around distribution of biofertilizer and how we create a product that, you know, can sometimes be considered as a waste, but created to a premium product. So give a little bit of background of us and then how we took that journey and what it went to. So who we are, how we measure the quality of product, creating a strong brand and building a reliable distribution system, and regulations and how we deal with all that. So that's what the presentation is going to be about, and I'll break these things all down for you all. So who we are, third generation farmers. We run 5,000 acres up in Ontario, and the largest distributor of fertilizer derived from biofertilizer. So biofertilizer is a name that we've kind of created, not us created, but it's not really in Canada, it's not really a legal name. And I'll explain it a little bit later, but either you have fertilizer or you have biosolids, but we just kind of break it down to a biofertilizer. Over 15 years handling some of the products, working producers and generators in Ontario in the United States. So, a little bit of background on us. My dad started farming about back in the 80s, and he started handling biosolids about 20 years ago. And on the farm, with biosolids in Canada, you have regulations where you have to stay set back from the houses about, I don't know, 200 feet or whatever. And being that he was cheap, he said, hey, this setback here, what are we gonna do to solve this, right? Not considering that there was actually a solution, but you know, just kind of poking around and see if there was some option. And the people that were putting it on at the time, they said, well, we actually do have a product out of Windsor, and the product will handle these setbacks. And so, at that time, my dad got a couple loads, tried it out, and he said, well, I love this product, how can we get a few more? So it went from there. The people at the time were not handling the product very well, and there wasn't an option of, you know, taking a third, so it was either all or nothing. And at that point in time, my dad said, we'll take it all. So he wasn't wanting to get in the business of the biosolid business, he just wanted and loved it for our own fields. You know, a little bit of Dutch background, and we like growing crops and we like manure. So really in our situation, we didn't have the livestock, and we knew that the manure that other farmers had for their cattle would get a higher yield than we could as cash crop farmers. So that was the advantage that we knew that other farmers had, and we saw this as kind of like the breakthrough to get to that option. So when we look at products, these are the things, the pros and the cons we look at, right? So we kind of break down the pros and the cons as how we evaluate the product and what the valuation is for us. So the concerns we have is heating up quickly. So there's some products that we've handled in the past that coming off the truck, it's smoking, right? And we've had 2 years now, up till now, that we've had zero situations where the product started to smoke. And that's because we handle it, but it's also having a good product that's not heating up as it's coming off the truck. So that's two things that's one thing we focus on: odor, how strong is the odor, and the dust. You know, dust and odor kind of go hand in hand a little bit with the biofertilizer, and the reason for that is because a little bit with this product is out of sight, out of mind, right? And when it's sitting in a pile, it's not being disturbed, it's not heating up, there's relatively no odor. You have to come really, really close to it to get the odor off it. When you do spread it, there is a dust concern. Fortunate enough in Canada, you're not allowed to subdivide farmland up. So our population is low, our density of population is low. And so we don't have as many neighbors, and the neighbors we do have are all typically farm or ag background. Benefits, nutrients. We'll show you a graph later how we measure this a bit. Nutrients, number one. I'm gonna ask you what's the NP and K in the product, and what the number's looking like, because that's where we're gonna start seeing the valuation for our farmers. That's the number one we're gonna see. Yields, interesting enough, farmers, they look at the NP and K, but what they really wanna see is the results. And when you can show them a higher level of result year over year, they'll start buying it more because the result is getting than actually NP and K, right? And when we sell the product, it's hard to describe to them where their yield is coming from. Is it the phosphorus? Is it the organic matter? Or is it the micronutrients? Or is it the nitrogen? And because it all depends on their soil to begin with. Were they running with phosphorus levels that were super low, and that phosphorus gave them the bang? where they had no organic matter and you need that organic matter? Were they running out of micronutrients? What was it, right? So the yield is really where they get the results down the road. And meeting fertilizer regulation. So in Canada, if it's a biosolid, it goes through a NASM. It's a non-ag source material. If we get into the category of a fertilizer, it goes through CFIA. So CFIA has all the rules to how to get this product through the CFIA. One of the number one rules is salmonella and the fecal matter, and where those numbers are. Salmonella has to be 0, undetectable, and fecal matter is like 1,000 probable number underneath that for fecal matter. So that's a big thing for us in Canada, is being able to get in that regulation of CFIA. We don't sell anything as of today or distribute anything that does not reach CFIA regulations. And it's just, again, it's about a marketing tool for us, and it's creating a brand around the product that we can keep on increasing the value to the farmers. Again, going back to the other product, if you have these setbacks in the houses, what happens is people ask, why do you have a setback? And it's hard to describe to them that it's not a concern. Because if it's 200 feet away from the house, they're saying, well, should it be 1,000 feet, right? Because they have no thing to measure. They're neighbors, they don't understand this product, right? So, as we know, some of these products are sold through retail, so that's also helpful, right? If you have products sold through retail, they're putting in the farm. So here's a little bit of a graph we use, and about how we value it. 0 to 10, where are we sitting at? Dust, odor, nutrients. And how does the math look like when you calculate all that? There's getting more and more new stuff that we're looking at and we're playing with to eliminate dust and that kind of stuff. So when we market this product, here you see on the left, or right hand side, sorry, these are the pounds per ton. So phosphorus, organic matter, nitrogen, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, zinc, and dry matter. So the drier the product is, typically the higher the nutrients, right? Because you're taking more than the moisture of the product. So having dry product is usually very, very valuable. Stuff like sulfur, because we don't get it sulfuric grain anymore, sulfur is becoming a very, very important product. Organic matter, by the way, is kind of interesting. Organic matter, there is no product that's in existence currently that has higher levels of organic matter than biofertilizer. So straw is about 20%. So straw, take out the wheat, straw, a lot of farmers don't want to take the straw off because that's a high level of organic matter. Straw is 20% organic matter, this stuff's 70% organic matter. So the highest level of organic matter there is in the industry. Over here, I have a barrel that shows yield, talks about yield. So basically, the barrel is a little bit of indication of how do you create yield for crops. And you ask yourself, okay, why do we care about this? Well, again, higher the yield for the farmer, the more we can charge for the product. So it's been happening over time as we get more and more value for the product. We have people coming in, selling product in our industry, in our area, because we've created the value for the product. And going back to the yield, what happens basically, it's like having a barrel full of holes, right? And if the lowest level of the barrel is something that plant is missing in nutrients, that is the highest potential it can grow. So if it's missing sulfur, it's missing calcium, if it's missing any of these ingredients, that's the highest level of potential it can grow, right? And so that goes back to the same thing I was talking about before, like the organic matter. A lot of times it can be rain, right? And organic matter is a retaining value for moisture in the soils. So if you raise the organic matter in your soils, you also have the potential for higher yields. And you ask any questions as I go through if you want. Go ahead.
How do you define organic matter?
So organic matter is actually, there's a test you can do for it on products, and they actually do a test in the soil too, to see what level of organic matter your soil is raising. So yeah, it's a simple test. You can, when you're sending away for the nutrient analysis, you can send away and ask for organic matter too. The test for it. So branding, I love branding. I love marketing. It's been a passion for me. So I kind of use this as an example. I ask people, why is Starbucks so important? Why do people love Starbucks? Right? You have this one, this is a regular coffee mug from here. How much did the coffee grinds, considering it's half the size, considering it's full size, to buy for this coffee as well as this one. What was the price? It was a few cents. I'm sure they bought a higher quality product to begin with, right? Of course they did, but it was only a few cents in the process. And I ask you, why is this more expensive? And some people say it's the logo. It's a green little logo. That's why people are paying more money. And I venture to argue that it's not the truth. And the reason why it's not the truth is because I don't know if you ever noticed. Here you'd have Dunkin' Donuts, right? You'd have those other brands. If Dunkin' Donuts disappeared tomorrow, McDonald's will take it up because they just deliver a simple coffee, right? The difference that Starbucks delivers is the consistency and the value they deliver. It's consistently every time. 9 times out of 10, they'll deliver it well. One person says, wow, no, there's one coffee brand that is better. I was like, I don't know the name. Might be a little corner shop. They consistently done a good value and create a system out of it in which they can then market and create a brand that everybody recognizes. And that consistency of creating a high quality product and delivering a service with a smile changes everything. So, highest level of service provider for providers, regulators, and customers. So, when I bought the business from my father, kind of funny story. So my brother and my father owned the business. I was living in Mexico, came back from Mexico. And so anyways, I was wanting the business because I saw it, I was getting paid $20 an hour, $22 an hour, and I could increase my profit by like $200 a day by buying this business. I'm like, I'm doubling my profit by owning this business. And so anyways, I said to my brother and father, I want to buy your business. It's a very small business, 1 truckload a day. They were using some of it. They said, give me $200,000 cash. Well, $200,000 cash when I was starting there was a lot of money, so I said, like, give me some time, right? I'll get it to them. But anyways, I started handling the product, and it was this blizzard, right? And I had a company hauling the product for me. And they called me up and they said, yeah, we can't deliver, we can't pick the load up today. And I'm like, well, isn't that convenient? Blizzard, and you can't pick the load. And so I called my friend and said, listen, buddy, I says, you got a truck trailer, can you come over it? So I went down to Windsor, picked up a load, and I mean, the whole truck and trailer was probably illegal. I mean, it was an old truck and trailer. Went down there, picked up a load. I didn't know how to load it. I just filled it from front to back, hauled it out, picked up another load, hauled it out, got them in a situation that they were gonna have to shut down for it. And the reason why I tell you that story is because at that moment I decided I'm gonna own my own trucks and trailers. No more am I gonna go and depend on somebody that's gonna, on the worst day of the year, not show up, right? Of course everybody can go pick up on the sunny days, but I'm not looking for somebody on the sunny days to pick up. I'm wanting the blizzards to pick up my load. So that's when we changed the model over. We started hiring our own truck drivers, make sure they're competent, make sure they know how to communicate. Because that's my service, right? That's my service that when they go pick up and they go deliver the customer, that's my vision, right? That's me, because I don't see the customers, right? I don't go look at them. I don't go and talk to the provider. So I need quality, competent people. They're gonna be able to back up a truck and back up the right spot and know where they're going and be able to communicate with the farmers. So anyways, so be able to provide for the providers a quality service. I can say up to this day, we never had to, no plants ever shut down because of not being able to supply the service. And again, regulators and customers. So sometimes in life, I think when you work with a waste provider, they look at the regulations like the regulations. And as long as you work within the regulations, they're doing the job. And I think that's a misconception, because when you get a neighbor upset with you, or some municipality pissed off with you, what happens then is that, irrelevant of what you're doing things right or wrong, you're gonna have something in your hand to deal with. And that's where I took a very different approach. I don't know if it was my time in Mexico dealing with the policeman down there or what it was, but my conversation was always like, what do you want me to do? You want me to step back, go to the right, go to the left? I'm here to serve, right? And I think you take that approach to these type of things, and generally people are really quite easy to work with. And that's been our experience. They haven't, I mean, some are a little more picky, some are less picky, but as long as you're willing to work within their means. And we'll have customer complaints, we'll have neighbor complaints, right? And we're like, yeah, let me go talk to them, let me go see them, let me go address it, right? Anyways, it's been very successful and very effective for us. Addressing customers' concerns. I always say, give me a customer that has a complaint, I'll make them a customer forever, right? It's because when that customer complains to me, I'm there. 30 minutes later, I'm at his place, I'm saying, what's going wrong? They'll show me, hey, this messed up, the guy spread like this, and spread incorrectly, all that kind of stuff. I said, no problem. I'll bring more product here, I'll spread it right, I'll look after. So they have that experience, and I always say, like, that guy ain't gonna go anywhere. Up to this day, we've only had one customer ever even ask for the bill of ladings or the scale tickets, because the trust we've built with our customers. You know, up to today we're doing about 80,000 ton of product, and no one asked for it because the trust that we built. You know, if you deliver a service that sucks, doesn't matter if you're doing rent on a house or whatever, and the quality is crappy, and you get the bill, what's the first thing you do? You grab the bill, you say, well, they screwed up in their service, what else did they screw up on, right? So when you deliver quality all the way along, people just sign that shit. Because again, what do you create when you create all the quality, service, and everything in this cup? What you create is an experience, right? It's no longer the product, it's the experience they're receiving, right? And when you get an amazing experience, you just want to have that experience over again, right? We've had times where we'd have farmers sit there and watch our operators load spreaders and be so excited about the service, the quality that they give, they come out and give a $50 tip to the guy, right? That's what you know you're doing, right? So, involvement in farm shows, referrals, and media outlets, very, very important, all three of them. Farm shows, I mean, I'm a little bit aggressive. I usually stand in the hallway. I don't stand behind the booth. I stop everybody as they come by and I let them know that, you know, I first ask a few questions, then I ask them if they know the company, and then we understand if they're a potential client or not, and then I usually pass it on to somebody else to close the deal. Because I look at everybody as a potential customer and potential close. So anyways, that's how we do with farm shows. Referrals, we're gonna do more and more effort in that, into media, customer referrals, and then going on to media outlets and using that, and we're getting better at that now. So creating systems, process, and duplicating the same high quality service every single time. That's again the huge thing. Back to this again. Like every time, deliver. You know, and start doing more videos on, hey, this is how the truck backs up, this is how you unload it, this is the right process. You know, keep those processes and systems consistently so they can always go back and watch those videos, get that information, and keep on delivering that quality. And this is from a guy that's totally disorganized, so if I could do it, you all could get it there. So anyways, regulations, branding, and public acceptance, classifying the product of fertilizer rather than biosalts. I talked a bit about that already. Having CFIA and having that regulations, looking at that as a fertilizer is a game changer for us, and that's what we want to keep on looking at throughout the whole U.S. Working regulations that are more accepted to these products is what you need to do, as far as I'm concerned. And really, what happens is when distributors mess up, that's when regulators get down your back, right? If you do a great job and things are working well, you don't hear much from anybody, right? Moving away from the image of waste product versus premium product, again, we talked about that already. You can't do enough of that. Like getting that nice pearl, getting the dust out of it, getting it from heating up. That long term, I believe, is where success will happen. And we're talking about processes and systems. So this is one pile. We didn't talk about our seasonality. Seasonality in Canada is a huge thing. We have 4 months we can apply the product. The rest of the time, you're pretty much starving. And so we built the system now. It took a while to understand what's perfect and what works great. So here we'll be holding 4,000 to 5,000 ton of this product for one farmer. We'll come there. We actually come there with construction mats. We lay it out on the construction mats. We back the trucks on. Like it can be raining out. We're backing trucks on into clay. We'll unload the loads. We have a tractor with big tracks. I think it's the next over here on the left with a big blade, and we'll push this pile up, and we'll continue to push it up, smooth it over, and then we'll put the plastic on top, cover with tires, and that eliminates any oxygen going to the product. And that's really basically how we keep it cleaned up. Efficiencies and quality control. So that's our biggest concerns, these three things. So farmer storage, creating a sustainable method of storing these types of fertilizers while retaining the integrity of the product for a long period of time. So yeah, if you don't cover it up, if you don't get the rain off it, it's gonna get messy, dirty, whatever. It's not gonna keep its integrity. Seasonality, our biggest operational challenge is dealing with seasonality of land application and having to maintain service to providers year round. So again, how do you deal with the seasonality and how do you deal with providing for your providers, right? The service. That's really where the catch is. I mean, I went to plant down in Fort Worth and I looked around, I'm like, you don't got a challenge here. You can go and deliver product year round. You might have one day it's raining out, and the next day it's gonna be dry again. And so it's much easier to deal with products like this in that kind of climate. Efficiency and quality control. Targeting system of storage, spreading application process, and having the knowledge, equipment, and personnel to handle the product. So yeah, it's an art, I'll show you the next slide here, I believe. So we custom build these spreaders now, based on what our needs are. This was a spreader we got in, and we rebuilt the frame, rebuilt the axle, put special tires on it, rebuilt the sides, put special spinners on it. We built the system up here. There's a quick attach system. We actually got a word for this. So basically, it takes about 30 seconds to unhook that spreader. And we use the same spreader to spread as well as load the spreader. We buy German tractors that drive fast down the road. We buy pull pickup trucks behind it. So our efficiency will spread 40 ton in an hour with these spreaders. And we hire specifically guys that are between 17 to 20 years old, 21 years old, farming background that basically want to leave home and not come back. Once they get 21 years old, they're like, yeah, maybe I should have a family, right? But those guys are going to work whatever hours you want, right? We pay them more, we look after them well. When it's 3 o'clock in the morning, when the guy wants to spread, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, we want to spread, right? And they have no problem with that. Just understand the personnel you need to get and train. Make sure they have the background necessary to handle the equipment you need to handle. Yeah, same with truck drivers. Same thing with them. Make sure you have the right truck drivers. Make sure you buy the right kind of equipment, right? We got guys that are hauling before the wrong type of trailers. Either park there, might have 2 different trailers, like those B trains or whatever they call them, and they'll park one on the road while they're unloading another one, right? Well, we can't have that. It's at nighttime, somebody can come along and smoke it, right? So you had to make sure that your quality equipment you you built in a way so you back up in small fields. Like all these things are crucial to running a business that's efficient. So we'll put the piles, we'll put an excavator in there for the big payload bucket, and we'll load trucks in 5 to 6 minutes out of these piles here, and deliver it all to the fields all the way around this main field. We just finished this payloader, 50,000 ton payloader. The 50,000 pounds payloader. We actually built the bucket on it, 14 feet wide, and then the big tires so basically can almost float on water. So this is the challenge and opportunity. So starts with regulations, and if you have a complaint, it goes to the neighbors. If a complaint goes to the neighbors, it usually goes to the municipality. It goes to the municipality, it's going to go back to regular again. So you got to deal with that circle and make sure you cut it down as fast as possible. Working with regulars, neighbors, municipalities, making sure the issues aren't, showing up, and then when they do show up, make sure you address them right away. So the benefits of working together with producers and generators, again, creating a highest quality product possible in the marketplace. I can't stress that enough. I'm like, if you're a producer, make sure you're creating as good a quality product as possible. That's the only way that we term can be sustainable as far as I'm concerned. Capitalizing on a product that's already existing in the market and making it better. So yeah, I always am surprised, we deal with like pop cans and we're thinking we're a genius because we're taking the pop cans, we're bringing them back and we're recycling them. Like, you didn't need pop cans in the first place. You could just drink water. But we create biosolids every day, right? And how we recycle and reuse them is so important. We keep on pulling fertilizer out of the ground, right? Bring it on land, spread it. Why is the land getting depleted in the first place? Because we're pulling the crops off and we're bringing it away to the cities, and that's where it's staying a lot of times. It's going out somewhere else, going to the landfills. So that's just not sustainable, and it's just sitting there waiting to be used properly. But it takes will to do it. And I was thinking of the conversation, we talk about PFAS a lot. Isn't it a blessing in some ways, that our biggest concern today is PFAS and counting it per trillion. You know, that's our biggest concern. Because, like, you know, I was just in DR, Dominican Republic, and they're looking for how to get their first meal and how to make sure there's enough protein in it. And we're looking at what the PFAS is per trillion, and yet we're eating off the pans that are loaded with PFAS, right? But we're concerned on the other side. And I'm not downgrading the need, the concern of it. I'm just thinking that that's our biggest concern with biosolids today. Then we're doing a pretty good job in looking at the issues of the concerns of heavy metals and all that kind of stuff, which we do. CFIA has the regulations that you have to measure all these things on, right? So that's pretty cool. Offering savings to producers and helping take away the stress of distributors. So yeah, we came to the two new producers in Detroit area in the last year, and we said, you know, what are you doing right now? We said, well, cut your price in half, right? And so they're like ecstatic. And it's good for me, I'm still making money. But the point is that if you keep on working with distributors that are gonna keep on raising that value, that product, the potential long term is that there's gonna be better profit for everybody, right? And I think at the end of the day, on that note, I think, you know, again, the same distributor that was handling the biosolids is not the same distributor you should use for a higher end product, because they see it as a waste. They're acting like a waste, they're treating it like a waste. And for their mind to switch to a profitable product that's highly nutrients and can be handled differently is sometimes hard for those individuals. And then saving the stress for producers, taking away the stress from the distributors. So again, like, you know, a lot of producers are trying to run a factory and try to keep it going and not wanting the problem of where's this product going to and handling all the stress. So minimizing waste going to landfills, again, same thing I was saying before. It's, I mean, I think at this point in time, a lot of places are getting more and more expensive, so it's not even an option, but just the concept of putting fertilizer back in the landfill just doesn't really make sense. So summary, quality product, watch regulations, customized service, and branding. And that's where I get back to this. You do all those things, you look after the regulations, you can eventually create a brand that'll be recognized and appreciated. And I always say, the Starbucks, people will be upset if it ever disappears. Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's is there, they're looked after, right? So, but it all has to start and understand the whole circle. So that's it. So, questions?